To all who come to this happy podcast, welcome to Fresh Baked Presents, a happy place where each week we combine imagination with our experience to discuss, challenge, and explore all things Disneyland. I am Ron Berner, and with me as always, Mr. Fresh Baked himself, David Erickson.
What's up, Fresh Baked?
And this is the Fresh Baked Presents podcast, episode 25. Thank you for joining us, where today we explore Storyliving by Disney. We reach into the mailbag to answer your questions and, of course, our 5 things Disney. How are we doing today, David?
I'm doing great, Ronnie. How are you?
I'm living the dream.
Love it.
How are you and your park expeditions going?
It's busy. Disneyland is busy again. Yeah,
It is.
it's getting more and more difficult to navigate the park each weekend that I go.
It is. And I was there on Saturday and it was crazy busy. But also I think I counted 19 things down still. So just think of the volume of people that consumes.
Yeah.
So back to
Or is
reservation.
not consuming.
Well, right. So that's where the reservation system it opens up more because they are accounting for that volume. So we shall see. But I do like busy. It sounds weird to
Me too.
say. It sounds weird to say, but I do like busy, and it's fun. The parks are great right now.
No, I have no problem with it being busy at all.
So David, as we heard maybe 10 days ago or so, the Storyliving by Disney was released or was announced, and in true Disney fashion, they kind of dazzle us with fancy, buzzwords and ambiguous details, to say the least. So we don't really know much from the consumer standpoint, and we don't really know much from the business side either, as a matter of fact. So I guess for the sake of kind of trying to drill down in this little bit of an exploration exercise, I thought we could try, and it'll go where it goes, but try to do it in somewhat of a framework to see where it takes us. And what I mean by that is things like the what, like what is the product, and the who is it for, who are they targeting, why are they doing it, or why is this a decision they decided to go with, and then of course revenue is the answer there.
I was going to say, that's the easy one.
In short, but the how is the revenue being generated for Disney.
Right.
So
yeah.
why do I say all of that is because I think my number one point in all of this is going to be because the Disney brand is powerful and sacred, and they put their name on it. And for me, that answered a lot. So I guess with that framework in mind, David, what is Cotino, and what are your initial thoughts on it?
Well, it's a good question, because the approach that I would take is that there are things that Cotino is, and there are things that it is not, and there's a tendency to get some of those things confused because, one of the number one complaints that I heard, because anytime something like this gets announced, people are going to be like shaking their fists and yelling at the clouds, saying what is Disney doing? What it is not is a Disney product. They're not building it, they're not selling it, they're not developing it, they're not doing any of those things. It's because the thing that people were saying was, how can they do this? How could they go in there and they've got money they need to spend money in other places, more useful places, fix the park, pay their cast members, it's all kinds of things. But as far as I know, as far as I can tell, they are not out of pocket of this at all. Am I right?
I think you're right at this point. But I guess to me, it is a Disney product. It's a product. This is a product launch. This is full diversification. It's a whole new line of business that they're getting into.
I guess I mean they're not. It's not something that they are producing per se. They're putting their name on a thing that somebody else is producing. I guess it's like a T-shirt. Okay, somebody else is making the T-shirt, right?
Yeah, it's kind of like, I think the simplest way that I've found to reconcile in my own brain is it's like Disney Springs or our downtown Disney, for lack of a better where there's third party. I mean, I guess Disney owns the property there, so that is true. But there's
I don't think they even
party.
own the property at Cotino, though.
They don't. But that's
No.
what I'm saying. So in terms of like the shops and the things that can go in there or
Oh, okay.
whatever, there's a mixture of that third party element, which
Yeah.
it's somebody else that's not necessarily all Disney cast members. I think you're right on a lot on most of that. That's where it gets ambiguous, like the Disney side, like they didn't declare exactly what it is they're doing. However, they said that they're going to be involved in terms of the entertainment. So the offerings that are going to be coming in there is going to be very Disney-fied. The magic of Disney, as they worded it.
Yeah.
I do think that there is, I guess the thing I'm going to go back to often is they put their name on it. And Disney's most powerful asset is their name. It just has so much brand equity built in. 100 years. Josh D'Amaro, I have all kinds of quotes from Josh D'Amaro, which are all kind of fun to poke fun of because he used key strategic words.
Yeah.
But the Disney brand, they're putting their name on it, which is going to be significant in meaning the quality assurance. It is going to be controlled by them. They are not going to let something else tarnish them. I just can't see that. The manage at the very least, they're going to have their C-suite execs or leadership, whoever that may be for this particular. It is the theme parks branch is going to have they're going to be in on the meetings and talking about what's going to be taking place.
Yeah, interesting that this is falling under the theme park umbrella.
Yeah.
I don't know where else you put it. I don't know the structure of Disney that well, but this is under theme parks.
Yep, and I think it's probably because they don't really have a real estate
Right. Yeah.
branch yet, but that's really where I believe all of this is going. They even said they're going to talk about doing more, but this is why I say it's a product launch, it's a go-to, or it's an entire new line of business where they're completely diversifying. And since we're on that subject, let me find one of those specific quotes from D'Amaro. I got a lot of them. This new experience will enhance, extend, and strengthen the Disney brand. And what do those words mean to me, a marketer, a professional marketer? Diversification. That means this is big picture. We are just like the theme parks, the consumer products, just like all of that. I think in their eyes, mind, a perfect scenario, and what they're hoping this to become, in a whole new branch, a whole new department of real estate, and
Well,
I don't know.
except that it's not, in the sense that it's just a license. The only thing I see here is licensing, which that is a business that they've been in for quite a while. They've slapped their name on a lot of things. I don't know if you could put this even if there were a real estate division per se, because like I said, they aren't building it, they aren't selling it, they're not putting up any of the upfront costs to build the homes, and all they're doing is putting their name out in the front of it, and then also the Disney cast member type level amenity kind of thing, but it feels strictly licensing. It feels like an opportunity to make money without having to put anything at risk other than their brand, other than the name Disney. The only thing that's at risk is the name, I think.
Yeah, I think that's true. I think that's almost like both true, where they've already said they want multiple communities spread out throughout. Mm-hmm. So fine if they're splitting, not really the expenses per se, but they're splitting their revenues because their name is worth that. I mean, the economic boost is going to be significant to the region, so that they're getting to pay off of the top probably as well as sales.
I think so. Yeah.
I saw. So
I wonder if they're going to get a piece of the HOA.
It's funny. Yeah, it's funny you say that because everybody in the communities, of course, don't want anything to do with this. They don't want it coming in and messing up the very essence of what Disney is coming into that region for. They're kind of tarnishing, like that whole peaceful mentality. But when you bring a resort community in,
oh my God,
kind of disturb it.
That brings up the one. I don't know if you were going to get into something here, but the little beach, the lagoon or whatever that they're building. You and I can go. We just have to pay. We pay a day pass. Can you imagine? Like, is that? Can you? Well, do you think that people will show up to go visit the Cotino Lagoon?
No, I mean that's a whole. There's so many like levels to this. No, I don't. Um,
Is it a
there
destination?
is a private beach. There is a private beach, but then
Sure,
so
yeah.
yes.
Well, that's another thing. Is that
Okay,
there's gonna be- it's sort of a class system. There's the private beach, and then there's the public, the surfs, as it were. You guys go play over there with your little whatever, and we're gonna come over here. We're gonna kayak and sit on a beach,
Yep.
But you guys can have your little section over there, which is basically what they've done.
They're not going to kayak. It's paddleboard.
Is that? It looked like a kayak to me. I don't know, whatever.
Oh.
But I guess my point is that they've created sort of a class structure within the beach the beach lagoon thing.
They did, and it's called a membership, of course. And then that's where the Disney product comes in, where you're privy to the Disney services and amenities that they have to offer, which I will get into some of that. But some of the pushback, there's so much meat on this bone, actually, now that we get going.
Yeah.
But the pushback, so when you bring up something, I'll just kind of go to some of the notes that I have on it. So obviously the locals are not welcoming. The class system is something that you said. I talked about the essence of the region. The destination location. I don't see how this, for one thing, it's 2 hours from Disneyland. So does that mean if you come in to go to the hotel, which by the way will or will not be Disney, you come into, if it's a destination location, so if you're traveling in, why are you going to this like resort location? And if you want to get to Disneyland, if you're traveling, you're not in a vehicle, so is Disney providing transportation?
I have a question, Mr. Burner.
Yes, I have lots.
To your point, as a destination, I mean, okay, I don't know if... I don't know if I can say that I'm speaking for even a majority of people, or I don't know what percentage of people I'm speaking for, but if I want a Disney day, I'm going to frickin' Disneyland. Why?
Right.
I mean, what? How is it that I don't see this as a place that I want to go as a non-resident? Right? Unless I own a home, which, by the way, that's another conversation. But why do I want to go to Cotino to find some kind of Disney experience when it's already? I mean, what's the next major city from Palm Springs is Riverside, right? Which is about an hour. So, I mean, are the Riverside guests, they're about halfway, right? Riverside's about halfway between. Are they going to go there instead? Who's going? Who's going on the day trip?
Yeah, it's hard to. I don't know because what is there to take you there for a destination? Like, it's just an interesting thing. I mean, I know that they're going to have. I did hear. Well, wait, I don't have it specifically in my notes, but there was some loosely. I don't know. They were just going to have things that were going to draw people in, entertainment. How about this? Food and wine festivals, things of that nature.
Okay.
Not that that's a it's not a destination location sort of a thing.
A date festival, because dates are big out there.
I guess so. It is tricky. I don't know. There's a couple things. There's a day pass, the club membership, which is optional even for the home.
That's for residents.
That's for residents. And that gives you waterfront clubhouse, beach area, recreational water activities, as well as Disney programming, entertainment, and activities throughout the year. So that's what I mean by ambiguous.
You can't even partake in the Disney-esque stuff without paying a membership.
Right, and it's not small. So just to get some facts out there for those that don't know, it's this 1 square mile. It's 618.
No, it's big, yeah.
It's 618 acres of mixed-use development, 1,900 housing units, including condos, single-family homes, estates, 400 hotel rooms, commercial buildings, a 24-acre swimmable lagoon with that private and public beach, a shopping center, restaurants, a beach community, and even places for non-residents to visit. Like a hotel.
But going back to that, even for people who are living there, there's another class structure, like you mentioned, because of the club membership.
Yep.
Can you, like, that's definitely Disney's getting a piece of that for sure.
They are. I think they're getting. Listen, who needs who more? DMB need Disney, or does Disney need DMB? So
I think Disney needs DMB.
I mean, I guess if Disney wants to go into this space, they need DMV.
Right.
But DMV, the business revenue that's going to be mounted is all on the Disney name
Well,
entirely.
no, that's true. But Palm Springs as a resort community, as a place to go, as a place to retire and spend your years for the affluent, has been a thing for decades.
Yeah, but
They've
those
been.
places all have a golf course. Does this
Well,
place that-
well, don't get me started on that. Don't get me started on the lack of a golf course, Ron. Okay, don't get me started on why do I want to live in Palm Springs if I'm not going to live on a golf course.
That's so funny. Did you already
This-
have a diatribe on that?
Yeah, because I mentioned that on Twitter, and people's like, "Dude, there's golf courses everywhere." I don't want to get in my car. Okay, I'm not trying to get in my car and drive to a golf course every morning. I'm trying to get into my golf cart that's parked in my garage,
Right.
and drive that to the first tee. That's the whole. I don't want to live in Palm Springs if I can't do that. I mean, you're a golfer; you can appreciate that, right?
For sure.
I mean,
They're just definitely not going to build a golf course when they're closing. They're like closing like Barnes and Nobles are. So that's what's terrifying.
but oh God, I lost my train of thought now. My goodness.
Yeah, like all the, I don't know, the things they have.
Well, that's right. Who is it important to? The community that is Palm Springs is doing just fine. They're as a place to be, it's
Right.
growing already. It's been growing, and I mean the residents there are quite happy. I don't think they need Disney. Matter of fact, if you were to poll the audience, go poll your average Palm Springs resident in the entire valley, and you say, hey, do you want Disney to come into your town? I don't know, man. I don't know.
They don't. They absolutely don't, because I
Yeah.
read a whole, there's pushback out of the local papers there that they're very upset about the fact that, like I mentioned, the community and the vibe and what it is what it is, and Disney wants to come and capitalize on that. However, by them bringing in this 618-acre thing, it takes away from the very thing that it is.
Right. Palm Springs has an identity that exists, and that identity is because it doesn't have that kind of thing, because it is what it is today. So, I mean, I know it's going to bring in a lot of revenue to the city, a lot of jobs, a lot of, everybody's going to make more money. All the shops, all the Lapperts and the Shermans and all that, all the restaurants are going to make more money. Everybody is. But do they, I'm just saying, I don't think they care. I think that they're doing fine. I think. I don't know.
They are doing fine, and that was what I was going to get to a little bit earlier. So the businesses in the community, like the impact of this, estimated impact, this is from the local paper. They estimated the project would have a net economic impact for the city of about $8.4 million annually.
Yeah.
Most of it from the hotel and sales tax revenues. The city projected about $28.8 million in general fund revenue for the current fiscal year, which started July 1st. The top three revenue earners for the city are hotel, sales, and property taxes. Hotel taxes for this year are estimated at $9.1 million, which is 31% of the revenue. And of course, that's all the piece of the pie that Disney wants a part of, which is, that's the questions like, okay, the hotel that's going there, is that going to be Disney? And
Probably not.
I can tell you the answer. I guess I can tell you the answer because the answer from an Imagineer, which I'm going to get to, and then I'll go bullet point down this thing and bring up all these points, and then you can comment on them or we can discuss them. But the Imagineer, Michael Hunchin, who is he must have been one of the head Imagineers, because in lots of articles I've read, plus I heard him on a podcast talking about a lot of this stuff, and even things that I haven't read. So it was very, very interesting. And one of those things was the Disney Hotel. His words, I'm trying to find them in my notes. His very specific words for that were, that is still being discussed. Or no, he said that is still being worked out. So
That sounds like it will be then. They're trying to
Exactly
figure
what
out how much. How much are we
Right.
getting? That's the only thing that needs to be worked out.
Yep. Let me quickly say this. Cotino, did you know this? The name stems from the cotinus, which means smoke tree, and that ties back to Walt when he owned homes.
Smoke Tree Ranch.
Yep. And so he often took his Imagineers there to dream ideas, and that's what he called his laughing place. And actually, fun fact, he sold his first home as part of the financing, of course, to go towards Disneyland. So
His first home was on a golf course, by the way, just saying.
I've
been there. I've seen the house.
This is a nod to that. So what I want to do is go and mention some of these bullet points that I wrote down from Michael Hutchinson, the Imagineer, he must be probably the lead Imagineer, if you will, on this, because he seems to be the talking head for this. He said, let's see. I didn't put it in a question form, but will include dynamic entertainment offerings that Disney will bring to the community. Cast members staffing the community clubhouse and beach and town center. So I guess we knew some of that.
Yep.
But what is dynamic entertainment? So they're going to put on shows, or going to be singing?
Well,
dancing?
dynamic means changing, it evolving. There's maybe a variety of different kind of things that it's not going to be the same static show every day. Maybe.
Yeah, I guess. I mean, it's definitely. Yeah, I mean, dynamic to me means that it's constantly updating. Just active, very, very well organized, I would think. I mean, again, these are the elements that are under Disney's name and under Disney's control as it comes to like management. So who's the highest ranking official there for Disney? Not in terms of name or title, but in terms of how much say are they going to have in everything that goes on? I would think awfully high.
Yeah.
Let's see. So he talks about things like having a Disney inspired architect. So for example, if you're going to be a homeowner there, having a Disney inspired architect and interior designer to bring you your dream home or a dream room to you. So he words it like this: Imagineers working. Yeah, this gets even more interesting, especially hearing him say it. Imagineers working with home builders for period pieces tailored to fit a story. And the residents' interests, agrarian era, mid-century era, or modern era. Disney's signature elements will be brought into these homes. So he didn't get specific, but he did say that. That
sounds like Golden Oak, by the way. Golden Oak does that, where they have. I've seen photos of homes there where they have themed rooms, even themed homes for that matter.
Yeah, maybe. He goes on to say special room Imagineers helped dream up. For example, if David Erickson is a master chef and wants the kitchen of his dreams, then Imagineers dream up ways to make it a little more magical, looking to help make his dreams come true. So that's the Disney touch that
interesting.
And
that's the coolest thing I've heard so far.
Right. He ends that interview saying Imagineers are ecstatic about the ambition of this idea and excited about the challenges that it's going to possess. They're all calling it celebrating of creativity. So of course these are all buzzwords that they like to talk about. Mm-hmm. But here's another interesting fact. When pressed on characters, the representation of Disney as we know it, Mickey Mouse, things,
mm-hmm.
Fab Five, will a lagoon have a Disney theme, was a question posed. He said, not really Disney themed. Disney magic branding is the tone vibe for the people, the customer service, and not characters. I know. He said it several times where he's like, he basically saying that it's going to be very Disney tones, and he said not necessarily characters. So it's kind of like
no island shaped like a hidden Mickey, but maybe like like you go to a resort. There's like little features, little interactive features, maybe that he's talking about that are.
There's a word for it. He's calling them magic moments, which is to your point.
Okay,
a hidden Mickey. It's a hidden Mickey, but it's not specifically a Mickey. It's a magic moment, which is defined by him as it's hidden Disney touches still in concept phases. So he doesn't even know where it'll all go on, and they may not see Disney characters. So he kept on alluding to the fact characters came up a lot as saying, like, don't think like that, basically. Right. And when they asked him if characters are going to show up or if it's going to be Disney themed, he'll say it'll have Disney's influence, and he just avoided not necessarily characters. So interesting tidbit.
Well, that sounds not necessarily sounds like no.
You're right, exactly. He made a point to not say yeah, maybe, or probably, or he made a point to divert that conversation away from that. But even some other questions that, I mean, I suppose D23, that's not till September. We'll have some updates on it, but some questions that come up. It feels like a cruise. We cruise has been the conversation of late, I guess, right? Disney's like to do inland cruises apparently. But to me, it just has that vibe of a cruise. Like if you're just going there for that little experience in a confined area, because it's very confined. It might be a mile by a mile, but it's still confined. Where else are you gonna go?
Like Castaway Cay that you live at.
Yeah, or Disney Vacation Club. Are they gonna try
right?
Like I'm not really. I don't know. It's just it's interesting. I think from a diversification standpoint. Like, let's look, bottom line, okay, business-wise. Like, why are they doing it? Like, they're doing it because of market value, right? There's
it's an opportunity to make a ton of dough without having to put much at risk, other than, like I said, the name brand. But they're not having to make an investment. It's not costing them anything. So it's just money at the top.
I guess so. I mean, if it's hard to believe that would be the case, but also I don't know that it's not the case. Like, but let's be honest, though. A resort is what they do. Resort management, hospitality, customer service, like that's Disney.
Yeah.
So it kind of makes sense, I guess, if you're from that standpoint in the real estate. But they definitely saw a business opportunity. They definitely did the market research on all of this to see, meaning it's not there's an opening to enter and to get a piece of that pie. Otherwise, they wouldn't do it. So.
Right, and they don't have to hit, for all the people who are detracting, they don't have to hit all of us. They just have to hit 1% of us, or 2% of us, or something like that, in order for it to be a success. So it may not be for you, but it's for some people. It's absolutely.
Right. But it's also self-contained from the standpoint, assuming they sell. You cannot rent there,
right.
But assuming the hotels, which curious is like, how are they going to fill a hotel? I don't know. 400 rooms. I don't know. I really don't. They must have something in mind. But the 1,900 homes, so all the community is kind of maintained a little bit based on that alone, I guess. It must be. Again, they crunch numbers. They know better than I, for sure. But, I don't know. It's interesting to try to... 400 hotel rooms, David.
I actually don't envision them having a hard time filling the hotel.
I heard 2 hotels.
Well, there you go. They are definitely confident that, but right. I've never really understood the hotel business, but apparently hotels are just money machines. So, and you don't even have to fill those things up to make a bunch of money. It's a one-time cost in terms of the building of it, and then you're getting paid rent every day.
Yeah.
There's a lot of money in hotels, man.
Authenticity of region is key to future locations. They want a regional inspiration, bringing the history of the locations to light is their intention.
Yeah, I was wondering if they, like, a future site might be a place like Big Bear, places like that across the country, but I feel like it's like resort places that are already a destination and they're trying to put their own little stamp on that.
I don't know. I feel like there's just so little known at this point. You know what I mean? Like, if the entertainment offerings, like you said, they're confident in it and they know what they're doing. I know that they know what they're doing. I just feel like we're missing so much of the story because what are they going to do to get bodies there? Like, what are those entertainment offerings? I'm sure the food festivals, that kind of thing makes sense.
That's a great idea. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm not really sure. I was just looking through my notes here to see if there was anything else. How would you feel about living in a Disney community?
When I first heard when the word Cotino and Disney live or Storyliving or whatever, I was like, and then they said Palm Springs, Rancho Mirage. I'm like, oh hell yeah! I was planning to move to the desert anyway. I have a 10-year plan, and in that 10-year plan is me living on a golf course in the desert. But then as soon as I found out there was no golf course, then I was like, okay, well, forget it.
Right.
But those properties were probably going to be a little bit out of my price range anyway. I was looking more condo level, I guess.
Right.
We're talking $1 million plus for these homes, I'm sure.
I bet they range from 1 to 10.
Yeah. Well, right. But that's what I'm saying, $1 million plus. You can't get in there on a regular, 3-bedroom, 2-bath type deal. It's going to be, everything is going to be, well, I don't know why I want to call it state. Although it did say there's going to be a mix. Hold on. Now I can't find it. Condos, SFRs, and estates. So
Yeah.
there will be some when you say SFR, that the assumption there, or the what I imagine is just a regular home, nothing fancy, just a regular home, and then the estate obviously is the more fancy plus. But I think even the SFRs are going to be million plus.
Well, I mean, a single family home in my neighborhood, I don't live in a rich neighborhood by any stretch, but I see these houses, what they're going for, and they are,
Well,
I mean, it's not
it's
a
still
lot,
cheap.
and $1 million doesn't go very far.
It does in the desert. It does a little bit in the desert.
That's true. The farther away you get from the water, the better off you are.
$1 million gets you a very nice house in the desert, I think. Now,
Really?
the super nice estates are still, 3, 4, 5 million or whatever, but you can get just a condo on a golf course is 500,000 or 600,000. So,
Yeah, I mean, that sounds good. That's why I like making the amount of money I make and taking that amount of money anybody makes and moving out of LA. It makes it seem like you got a massive raise, right?
That's so funny. That is like that is the California dream these days. The modern California dream is to buy a home early if you can. Watch your equity grow, in the course of 10 or 15 years. Cash out that equity and go pay cash for a home somewhere else, like in the desert or in the central California or something like that, where you can just buy a really super nice house for $500,000 or something like that, and just live out your golden years.
I'm going to Phoenix or Scottsdale as soon as you kick me off of this show.
Yep. And I tell you what, $1 million goes a long way in Scottsdale too.
I love it there, man. I love it, and there's golf courses everywhere, and I like
Yeah.
hot. And like I said, I can go back to North Dakota with my family. The point is, you make what you make wherever it is, and then you see what they make, which is a lot of money for them, but it's just because LA, the numbers are just so different, right?
Yeah.
So and the rent we pay is like, get the heck out of town.
I know, right?
So I don't know, to be perfectly honest with you, as romanticized as I try to make it in my head, I don't think I'm ready for that community. For me to live in it.
If anything, I'm trying to check out of the Disney way. I'm trying to get less Disney.
It's exactly funny that you say that. Working at the NFL, all I did all day long was write articles about the NFL, research the NFL, watch. There was a million screens, right? And I'm a sports freak. When I went home, I didn't want sports anywhere near me. So the Disney thing, it's the same thing. That community, I don't know. It just seems. I think the 55 plus community at that point maybe, but then again, by that point, I don't want anybody on my lawn. I don't want to talk to anybody. I'm checked out. So I don't know. In theory, I can't wait to see what one looks like, because it's probably super, super cool. But right now,
I'm sure it will be. Yeah,
there.
it's just not for everybody.
It feels too dystopian or utopian either way. I'm sure it's super, super cool, and I'll definitely want to follow it. And by the way, good luck with your construction videos.
Somebody asked me if I was going to go film the construction. I'm like, no, there's nothing to see there. I mean, it's just going to be
so fun.
But I would like to see them build a lagoon, but I would never get close enough to be able to see that, I don't think.
Yeah.
Crap. Now you guys got the planet in my head. I'll just go look at the lot. I wonder, before they start going vertical, I wonder how soon are they going to start building the lagoon? Is that well in advance of the homes, or will there be sight lines?
Because that's landscaping. The very first thing they do is.
That's true. You got to start growing those trees early. By the way, that brings before we. I have a feeling we're going to segue out of this in a second. So, one thing that I want to talk about is a lot of people commented on the lagoon itself, and the fact that we're in a drought and it's in the middle of the desert, and there was complaints that it was irresponsible to build a lagoon of this type, considering all the water that's being needed. They're using crystal lagoon technology, which, as I understand it, is, it's about as economical in terms of water usage as it gets. It's a manufactured lagoon that requires very little maintenance in terms of keeping things cycled, because you got to constantly, just your pool is constantly recycling the water and cleaning it or whatever. Yeah. But we're talking 10% of the normal effort required. And you could use any kind of water. You could use fresh water, salt water, gray water, I guess. You could use any kind of water for this. So I don't think the environmental impact is too great with this lagoon. I just want to put that out there for folks who are worried about that. I think the environmental impact of this lagoon is negligible.
Yeah, it reduces the way it was listed. The proponents for the technology, it reduces water, energy, and chemical consumption.
Yeah.
So, good point. I had it in my notes, but I have an awful lot of
I know,
other
right?
things in my notes that I didn't talk about. But that's okay because we got the gist out, and it is a very interesting topic, and it's cool to see. I like the business diversification. I like the expanding and spreading your wings, and that's how you. If it works, it's going to be this massive thing, and if it doesn't, then lessons learned, because they did try this many years ago and it didn't work. Celebration in Florida.
Not quite the same, but yeah, I mean, it's a little bit different,
Real
I think.
estate, I guess I just mean it from the vertical of real estate.
Yeah,
But yeah,
yeah.
it's still not quite the same because now they don't have, to your point, they're not risking much on their end.
Right.
Fiscally, anyway. So, David, this week in Disney history.
Well, alrighty then.
Yeah, we're already there. And only 15 minutes over. Just kidding. The Mickey Mouse film, The Band Concert, opens in theaters in 1935. This is notable as it is the first Mickey Mouse film in color. 1935. From then on, with the exception of Mickey's Service Station and Mickey's Kangaroo, all Disney cartoons would be in color. Mickey is a frustrated band leader who must deal with an obnoxious peanut vendor and flute player, Donald Duck, who tries to persuade the band to play Turkey in the Straw, and if that wasn't enough, a cyclone before his concert of the William Tell Overture is completed. The cartoon was a major success, making Donald even more popular than ever. 1935.
Yeah, that's a great bit. That's a great bit. I
love it because Turkey in the Straw is so awesome.
Yeah, I know. I love it too.
And it's funny to see Donald back in the early rendition. Not even the earliest renditions of Donald, but he's obviously changed a lot since then. He looked like he was hungry in those days. He was a little thin. 1939, Ferdinand the Bull wins the Short Subjects Cartoon Academy Award. It is about a ferocious-looking but quiet bull who wants to only sit and smell the flowers. He is mistaken for a feisty animal by a matador when he snorts and charges after being stung by a bee. The matador takes him to an arena in the city, only to see him revert to his peaceful demeanor and refuse to fight. Ferdinand is happily sent back to his flowers. When the character of Ferdinand the Bull needed a voice in Disney's cartoon version of the story, Walt Disney took the bull by the horns and voiced the character himself. Several of the characters at the bullfight are caricatures of Disney artists, including Walt himself as the matador. Have you you did see the last one, the band concert, but have you revisited all these early Mickey shorts with having a young daughter?
No, not at all. I mean, we are revisiting a lot, but there's so much content that we did see. Oh God, that old Christmas one. We watched that scary Christmas one they did with Santa and his little workshop. But no, otherwise we haven't watched a lot of the old stuff.
I watched so many of them when Champ was younger, and I had fun. I enjoyed doing it because it was fun. I love animation, the early cartoon drawings. I just love the way they look. So anyway, 1986. Guatemalan Weavers Adventureland Shop, which opened in 1956, closes February 23rd, 1986. 1 week later, March 1st, 86, in its place, the Safari Outpost Shop opens. David, would Guatemalan Weavers would have been of any interest to you?
I would have bet my life savings that it was always a Safari Outpost, and I never even heard of Guatemala Weavers. That was the original gift shop right there?
Yeah, 1956, Guatemalan, same location. They just basically changed the name. There's not a lot of information on the Guatemalan Weavers Adventureland shop, I can tell you that. I tried. I know. It's like, where did it even come from? I'm sure you could really deep dive into it to find out the source. But that's kind of the beauty of the shops, is you can try things, and if they don't work, then just try something new until something hits. But Guatemalan Weavers is just so interesting. Like, why? What made them go down that route?
Yeah.
1939. at the Biltmore Hotel in Los Angeles, the 11th Annual Academy Awards were held. And while neither Walt nor his first film, Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs, had been nominated, Walt managed to walk away with much more than just a single award. Snow White was recognized as a significant screen innovation which has charmed millions and pioneered a great new entertainment field for the motion picture cartoon, a young Shirley Temple said, presenting Walt with an honorary Academy Award, along with 7 dwarf statuettes, confirming that the film with the 7 little men was a big success. Do you remember that moment? Not remember.
I mean, I've seen clips. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
I love that moment because Walt was stewing inside because he just did Snow White and he wanted recognition for it beyond what he got because it was such a smashing success that year.
Yeah.
But the Academy didn't do anything other than say, oh, you did such a good job, we'll give you this special award. He wanted like the big one. That rumor has it, documentary rumor. And I also love what Walt says there. He said, I always say this line too. He's like, wow, I'm so happy I could bust. I always just say that line. Or I'm so happy I think I'll bust.
Yeah.
Because he's talking to a little girl like Shirley Temple. He's like, you better play along here on my national television. Snow White, an enchanting musical show, opens in the Fantasyland Theater in 2004, a 32-minute version of Snow White. It was performed 5 times a day, 7 days a week, and featured many songs from Disney's first animated feature, Whistle While You Work, Hi Ho, and Someday My Prince Will Come. Anne Hamburger, her name is literally Hamburger.
Did you say that right?
Right. The executive VP of Parks and Resorts Creative Entertainment stated, Snow White has a tremendous amount of significance to us. It's the animated feature that started it all for us and was important that we do it right. So in order to make the story more relevant for today's audiences, Snow White had a lot more spunk and is the Disney philosophy, when animation goes to the stage. The characters are given more depth. It closed in 2006. So 2006, that's your wheelhouse. Did you ever see it?
No, that is the opposite, actually. I was definitely not going to Disneyland around that time. I didn't hit the parks again until 2012. So I was AFK for a while there.
Well, that is so interesting because I hit the parks about 2012 as well. I did a couple in the early 2000s and to see DCA.
A little bit here and there, but nothing major, yeah.
Yeah, the 90s was when I don't remember the 90s in general. Captain EO, the 3D film starring Michael Jackson, ran from 86 to 97. It reopened this week as a tribute to the magic, music, and messages of the 3D musical adventure. It was not possible to replicate some special effects elements from the original presentation. It boasted a new 70mm print of the film and sounded better than ever thanks to its acoustic enhancements made to the theater since the film first played in 1997. In addition to Michael Jackson starring, the cast featured Angelica Houston as the supreme leader. It was produced by George Lucas and directed by Francis Ford Coppola. The 17-minute film features original songs and new Disney-created space characters with magical transformation powers such as Hooter, Fuzzball, and Major and Minor Domo. I know, I always like putting Captain EO stuff in here because I feel like you loathe that attraction.
I don't loathe it. I have respect for it in a lot of ways. It's just so ridiculous. It's so poorly done. It's the minds that were involved in this, and this is what they came up with. Fuzzball and Hooter and
I know.
Oh my God, it's just preposterous.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, I like it because of again, it's the age through the prism of a 10-year-old boy's eyes.
Yeah.
So this is fun, and I'm just going to give you this little caveat up front. I rewrote this piece like 3 times because I wanted to have this like make a good awesome reveal storytelling period, like Paul Harvey, that's the rest of the story.
Oh so God, Paul
I
Harvey.
don't know. This week
that's the rest of the story.
Yeah, now you know the rest of the story. This week in 1965, Walt Disney receives his first Best Picture Academy Award, which he wanted in 1937 for Sleeping Beauty. Snow White. his first Best Picture Academy Award nomination for Mary Poppins, which was nominated for 13 Academy Awards. It would go on to win 5. In 1963, 2 years prior, Walt asked Julie Andrews if she would like to star in his upcoming production, a lavish musical fantasy that combined live action and animation called Mary Poppins. She agreed on the condition if she did not get the role of Eliza Doolittle in the pending film My Fair Lady, the role she played on Broadway as the original Eliza Doolittle in My Fair Lady the musical. The studio executives did not want Andrews because she had not had any experience in film, so they cast Audrey Hepburn instead. I said Hepburn, but it's Audrey Hepburn, who I also love. Instead, as they thought Hepburn would be the better choice. After Hepburn was cast in My Fair Lady, Andrews made an auspicious film debut in Mary Poppins. Mary Poppins was nominated for 13 Academy Awards and won 5. Film editing, visual effects, score, original song for Chim Chim Cheree, which I love. Yeah. And while My Fair Lady took home several Oscars, it failed to win the Best Actress category. That award went to none other than Julie Andrews for her performance.
God bless Julie Andrews. I love her.
I know. You know, a funny little story. Mary Poppins and The Sound of Music. When I was a young kid, I used to, because it was always on. Grandparents were playing it. Everybody, it was just on the TV when you only had 2 channels back in those days. It was on constantly, and I always used to say how it was annoying. I don't like an old lady flying, or a lady flying around in an umbrella, and this woman singing on the hills. And when I got much older, I found out it was the same person, and everybody's like, "You hate Julie Andrews?" Like, no, I didn't know it. I couldn't believe that the 2 movies that I thought that I hated so much were both Julie Andrews. And of course, in hindsight, I absolutely adore those films.
Now I need to watch Sound of Music again. You got me thinking about that.
By the way, I just saw Sound of Music last year. Actually sat down and watched it. It is an unbelievable film, and everybody that says that is right. It visually blew me away. It was spectacular.
Well, that opening. Oh my gosh,
it's incredible. It's going to be in my rotation now.
All I want to do now is go to Germany and find that hill and stand on it.
Oh my gosh, it's such a beautiful film. I had no idea all these years. I was in my head. I was scarred by it.
Yeah.
Mail time.
David. Okay, let's do it.
Mailbag. Number 1 comes from Crazy Girl Daffy. Thanks everybody for your submissions. As always, you are filling our mailbag and our top 5, so please keep on sending them. David, what is the top of your list of characters you would be happy to see as a reskin or retheme for Gadgets Go Coaster?
Well, I will say this in answering that if I'm anything, I'm consistent in my response to these kinds of questions, because my number 1 is Gadget. I don't want it to change. I'm fine with it just the way it is, man. Give me Gadget. I don't want to reskin at all, and it still fits. Whatever they're doing, it still fits. I don't know why they need to, other than to support something else. But if you made me choose, I like Chippendale. I think I'm a big fan of Chippendale, which I guess is Rescue Rangers is a thing that's happening. Maybe they'll go that direction. I don't know, but no, I'm good with Gadget.
Yeah, you nailed it. I think Rescue Rangers is a good choice. My answer to every single thing for the rest of the time is going to be Encanto. Because I will never shut up about this Bob legacy, the Bob Chapek legacy. No, it's actually not my answer. I'm just going to start everything by saying Encanto always. Every question I will answer with that.
You may not be wrong, but...
But there's gonna be an Encanto Land. I was the first to say Encanto Land, and then all the news came.
I know, right? Just the day before.
My real answer is I think Rescue Rangers is a good, very very good choice to keep it as close to as is. I put Potato Land under the caveat that if Donald Duck's boat's going away and Goofy's is going away, I don't know that they are. They probably aren't. But just to keep the Fab Five in there, Potato Land is fantastic and excellent, and would work in that corner well. And you could even implement like Pluto. Get more Pluto's in Potato Land, but you know what I mean. Like just try to get Fab Five is really what I was gonna say. And if you're gonna go off of I would love them to do Potato Land. But if they were gonna go,
that would be so great. I don't think they will, but that would be awesome.
No, but it's five. It's the Fab Five implemented together, and
Yeah.
it's such a beautiful story, right? It's
Yeah.
such a
Yeah, no,
friendship.
it's great. Potato Line's one of the greatest shorts they've ever made.
Yeah. So that's what I would hope. And then off the beaten path one I picked, which is I loved as a kid, and then they rebooted it a couple years ago. DuckTales. It doesn't fit near as well as
Yep.
Potato Land, but DuckTales is cool. I like DuckTales.
I like
So,
DuckTales.
yeah, if they had that, I'd be happy. Number 2, Marley. Life Like Marley says, have you ever been judged for being a Disney adult? Going to the park regularly, or has it ever been a problem with a partner or while in life?
No, I've never, not directly anyway. Nobody's ever said, hey, you loser adult Disney person. Not to me, not personally. I get lumped in, as we all do. We get lumped in with, every now and then you hear stuff on Twitter or social media like, what are you doing, loving Disney so much? But I don't have a lot of friends, Ron. You know what I mean? I have a small circle. I'm not because I'm that Disney loser or anything like that, but just right. I have a small circle of friends, small family, and none of them have ever judged me for it. Matter of fact, the people that are in my circle are Disney fans, so I've never encountered anything like that. I think that's mostly just a social media thing, isn't it? I don't know. You?
What side of that circle am I on?
You're in the circle, Ron.
I'm in it.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. You wouldn't judge me for being a Disney adult.
No, because I'm one of them. And I'm having this reconciling moment in my life and saying when Benjamin graduates in 18 or rebels at 15, which is only a few years away, how I'm going to need a Disney wifey, because how am I going to go to Disneyland on my own? What's going to happen? I come from a little bit more of a rough and tumble world, I guess. I was a jock in college, high school and college. People know the business side of me, and they know that I study it, and I love the global business that it is. So that's kind of how I reconcile myself and get away from it.
But
it doesn't
really
help
when I'm
Beauty. Yeah. Well, when I'm in public and people that I've just met, the girls, I have a tattoo sleeve. I have almost 2 sleeves, and there's a lot of Disney ink on there, significant representation, and the conversation comes up. Walt and Mickey, for example. So when another full-grown man says, "Is that Mickey? Is that Walt and Mickey tattoo?" And then you know what I mean? There's that moment where I'm proud of it. I love it for sure, but there's also that moment of there's this toxic masculinity world.
Yeah.
So I get it. So I get grief, but by and large, it doesn't. Who cares?
Yeah,
I know who I am. Number 3, what attractions or experiences would you add photo ops to? This comes from Andy Mac Voice.
Well, I took this from the perspective of what I think would be fun in terms of photo ops, as opposed to, I guess some of them like Splash Mountain. That's a fun one. I want cameras on all the turns at Goofy Sky School. Just as they're about to make that turn, I want to capture that moment. I think that would be pretty fun. Maybe Big Thunder, with the goat or something like that.
Right.
And then just for actual fun, put one that the camera is right about in the middle of the Peter Pan queue, and I want to see what you look like after you've been waiting for 30 minutes in that queue. That's a good one.
That is a good one. Yeah, that was a fun one. When I started thinking about it, I was like, there isn't anything that you can add a ride to. Then I started thinking, there are a few. One that I actually put is Gadget Go Coaster. And the reason it came to mind was you know what? There's not any photo ops for young children. So a mom with her infant.
That's true. Yeah.
Not really an infant, but a 2-year-old, 3-year-old, stuff like that. And it's such a fun coaster. It's the best small coaster in the world. It is.
I love gadgets.
It's so fun. Goofy Sky School for sure, because I think on the edge, every single time it goes around the corner, I think it's going to break off. Yep. So the face that I would make would be awesome. Big Thunder I put. I don't know how you do it in the Matterhorn, because the picture is only of you, but so it'd be awesome somehow to have you with Harold. It's just something. Maybe the
shot on Matterhorn will be you grabbing your back.
Yeah, I know, right? Traction. Last one.
Okay.
David, this comes from 5150 Batman. with the rumor of Universal losing the rights of Simpsons in the theme parks in 2028, do you see Disney taking it on? And what do you think they would do with it?
I don't think they'll do anything, to be honest. I mean, they obviously could take it on and they could do something with it, but I don't think they will. It doesn't. You could have said the same thing about Marvel and Star Wars, but I don't think Simpsons belong in a Disney park. Am I being out of line when I say that?
I don't think so. I actually put something similar. First I say no, because it's not their own creative IP. It's someone else's
neither was
work.
Star Wars or Marvel.
Well, I'm getting to that.
Oh, okay.
It's someone else's, but we've seen it before when they took over, which they did not do to those other two per se.
That's true.
But they took over the Muppets, and look what they did to the Muppets.
Yeah, well, that's the thing I was going to say, which I didn't, is that I hope they don't, because I don't want them to screw it up. Simpsons is important to a lot of folks, and as soon as if they try to do something with it, they're going to do it wrong. They're going to get it wrong. There's no doubt about it.
And also, listen, I like R-rated horror, terrible, crude. I'm as crude as anybody.
Yeah.
If I wasn't on this podcast, my mouth is very foul. I like jokes using foul language, all that stuff. To my dirty mind, or not dirty mind, but my
Sure.
crazy mind, Simpsons is too crude for a Disney park. It's just crude.
And
It's
if
just crude.
Disney tried to put their hands on it, they wouldn't get it right.
Right. Well, because they try to take the crude out of it. Well, that's what makes it funny.
Or they would. Well, they don't even. If they wanted to do crude, they can't do crude.
Well,
Disney
right,
does
right.
cheesy, corny. That's it. That's their wheelhouse.
Right.
Stay in there. Don't try to be
Right.
hip. Don't try to be cool. Don't try to be crude. Just stay in your bubble. The cheesy,
Right.
corny stuff. That's it.
Right, and then as far as the Lucasfilm and Marvel thing, I did note that on as well, because like Lucasfilm produces their films. Disney's still there; it's under the Disney umbrella. But Marvel, do you think Disney's telling Kevin Feige how to run? They ain't messing with Feige; he's doing his own thing for sure.
That's true.
So if not Simpsons, but if the Muppets, for example, if the Muppets came over under their own umbrella in the same way Lucasfilm and Marvel does it, then the Muppets would be doing well. But when Disney takes it on, they ain't got time for it because it isn't really theirs.
They ain't got the brains for
Simpsons. It seems like it, right? Yeah. Thank you for the questions. Please submit more at fake Ron Burner. Those come directly to me. Also, if you will have terrible things to say about me, I respond to everything. And then at the FBP podcast, the two P's messes me up. FBP podcast for top fives, for questions. Send them. We love it. 5 things Disneyland this week. If we were to rank every single ride at the Disneyland Resort, what are our last 5? Meaning the 5 rides that would need to be removed from the Disneyland park.
So you're talking about physically taking a ride out. You got to get rid of the ride.
We have to lose a ride. What are you choosing?
Well, there's only every ride to me at Disneyland proper is sacred. There's a couple of exceptions, so that's where I'm going to go with. Number 1, I want to say number 5. Yeah. Star Tours. Star Tours to me, that's the only attraction in Disneyland that I would say have at it. Go for it. Take a demo to that thing. Go for it. I'm good with it. I don't need Star Tours in my life, and I'm sure we could do better than that. Ron loves Star Tours. So.
Star Tours is great, and every single time I write it and I see the kids' reactions, I go crazy. I would rather they got rid of Millennium Falcon, but
wow.
No, but I'm not gonna. It's interesting. So the way that you chose to answer this is the 5 rides that you just don't like. So if it wouldn't affect your life if they were gone per se.
Well, no, it's not necessarily the 5 that I don't like. It's just that I value
it the least.
There's worth attached to certain attractions, and there's so much. I mean, even bad rides at the Carousel. I have no. You know what I mean? Like I'm not affectionate. I don't love the Carousel, but don't you take it out because it belongs in Fantasyland. That kind of thing.
Well, I think that's funny because when we do a negative list like this, negative for lack of a better word, the opposite of love is like the thing like, well, if we have to, that's why I worded it like that. If we had to rank every single Disneyland ride, what's coming up the last 5, because they can't be a tie. There has to be a ranking, and whatever the last 5 are, these are the last 5, so to speak. So I guess for me, my number 5, it was very hard the way I thought about this, because in my mind it was what it brings to the park from an aesthetic standpoint, like you know what I mean, to lose that visual is very, very difficult. But the number 5, I actually put the sailing ship Columbia, and the only reason I put it on there is not because I don't love it, but it would enhance the Mark Twain. It's not practical at all, because it's perfect to have 2 for lots of reasons, but,
I think so.
But it would enhance the Mark Twain, so it's like, okay. And I struggle with number 5. My first 4 are easy. Number 5, I was like, I have no idea what to put here. So I just went with Sailing Ship Columbia, just more because I want to put the Mark Twain on even a bigger stage.
All right. Well, my number 4 is probably also going to upset you a little bit. My life would not be impacted one bit if we lost Roger Rabbit's cartoon spin. I would be okay if we lost that one. It has no value to me. I enjoy it all right. It's not even in my top 10 dark rides. So you could put Roger Rabbit as number 4 for me.
Yeah. I mean, I love Roger Rabbit, not necessarily the ride.
Okay.
But still, I'm not putting that on. My number 4 is just because of what's the point? Jesse's Critter Carousel.
Oh, I love Jesse's Critter Carousel.
It's a merry-go-round.
I know, but it makes you happy. Don't you want to be happy, Ron?
I am happy on Roger. I spin on Roger Rabbit.
No, man.
I mean, that's just it. I have no choice but to.
You should see my little girl's face light up when she goes on Jesse's Critter Carousel. She loves it. I
had to pick 5.
All right, so okay, number 3. Well, okay, this one goes along with Roger Rabbit. Here's the thing: I like I said, I hold Disneyland sacred, but I don't hold Toontown sacred. And even though I like Gadget's Go Coaster as an attraction, it's one of my favorite roller coasters. But it would not disappoint me or hurt me at all to see all of Toontown actually get bulldozed. Now, hopefully, the addition of Mickey's Runaway Railway will enhance my love for that land, and they'll do something, this new update. But Toontown, as it exists today, go ahead and keep that gate closed. I'm okay without it.
Man, you're harsh. Like, what more could you possibly want? They're shutting it down for a year to bring you.
Well, that's what I'm saying. When it reopens, I'll probably change my tune. Right. But as it is today,
bada bing.
No pun intended.
Number 3, emotional whirlwind. You're fired.
Yeah, you're right. That ride kind of sucks. It kind of sucks. It gives me a headache, actually.
It's the worst. It's a terrible queue. When it's hot, for some reason, there's no air movement in that little air spot. So you're sitting there, you're baking, and you're like, God, there's not even a breeze. But when you step away from it, there's a breeze. It's just a weird thing. And it takes forever. Then you get on it, and it's like, I don't want to hate on it or anything, but it's just like, I avoid it almost.
Yeah.
Unless it's a walk-on. I like Ladybug Booty. I like most of the rides in Bugs Land better than that. And that was one of them.
I would rather be on Flix Flyers than Emotional Whirlwind.
I'm telling you, they shoehorn that thing in a spot, and it just doesn't work for me at all.
Yeah, it's such a weird sort of the way they just kind of shoehorn that in there like that. It's just weird. It's just weird.
Yeah.
But not on my top 5. Number 2 for me is Little Mermaids, Ariel's Undersea Adventure. For whatever reason, I mean, I'm not a big fan of the movie, which again, I think you might be. You feel that is like the beginning of the Renaissance, as it were. Which
I think Roger Rabbit's.
Well, that's true. Yeah, that's right. But I'm not a big fan of the movie. I feel like the building is just way too big. Like, you could do so much more use with that space than they did for Little Mermaid. It's just, I mean, you could put 4 toads in that thing. So it's okay. It's okay.
I like it. I do. I don't know. It's one of the rides I hit every single time. It's comforting. It's so air conditioned. I like it. Mr. Limpet's in it. I like
That's
it.
true. That's true. Limpet is in there, which is weird, but cool.
Which is awesome. My number two. This goes back to the aesthetics thing. So far, all four of mine are outdoors, which takes away a visual component, which is terrible.
Yeah.
And I picked jumping jellyfish. The ride's
Oh, that's
awful.
fun.
The ride's awful, but visually, it's such an important element to have that vertical energy there.
You can't take any of those attractions, in my opinion, because they all go together from a distance. You know.
It's true. It's true. From the standpoint of what it looks like to behold, 100% agree. Most of these are the case. But as far as just experiences, enjoying riding it, it could break down forever. It could have no passengers for the rest of the time, and I'd be okay with it.
Yeah, just let it run and operate, but no guests could go
Like
on
the
it.
Skyway, I'm trying to talk them into doing.
All right, so my last one, number one for me is Soarin'. Soarin' over California, Soarin' over the world. I need to see a therapist about how much I don't enjoy that attraction. For a variety of reasons. I don't like the queue. I don't like the show. I don't like the building. I don't like anything about it. The only thing that works is that it's part of this whole aesthetic of being, in an airfield, which I kind of like that whole theming aspect of it. All the trees and stuff like that and that area around it. But the actual ride attraction itself I cannot do Soarin'. Hate it.
I love it. I love it.
Normally we agree, but this is one of those days, right?
Well, you don't like screens. What are you going to do when the Avengers E-ticket comes and it's nothing but a screen?
I don't know. I'm terrified of the Avengers E-ticket, Ronnie. I'm terrified of it. I hope that a trend emerges soon that it'll make, because like how the trackless ride vehicle fad kind of just like, whatever. Like nobody cares about that anymore, so it's no longer a priority. I'm hoping that the screen technology thing becomes no longer a priority by the time they invent a ride, because I worry about the Avengers E-ticket. But anyway, Soarin' sucks.
Yeah, it's going to be state-of-the-art, the highest level of screen technology that can possibly be implemented for sure. They've even said that. But I can tell you what's coming next, and that's a conversation for a different day. Metaverse.
Oh God.
And not only the metaverse, but hey, it's Bob Chapek. I'm telling you, his legacy stuff. Not only the metaverse, but they're going to do it without the use of goggles or a headset. And by the way, we have the headset on Toy Story Mania, on Spider-Man, on Web Slingers, and on Star Tours.
Headset. I don't know if it's the same thing.
It is the same thing because, I'm saying if you do 3D, a headset's different. But what I'm saying is the technology that's coming out for the metaverse is through the use of the visuals. This is a whole podcast we can do.
Yeah. Okay.
It's the visuals. Think of Rey in Rise of the Resistance. Now, that technology throughout an entire attraction of metaverse.
What if they built a game for the Oculus? A metaverse game for the Oculus, right? You put the headset on, and then you go to a virtual headset ride at Disneyland.
Right. Well,
Talk about meta.
Well, the metaverse is going to either be launch bay or back lot for sure. Well, that's just these are just my quote. I think that's a segment we should do on this.
I think.
I stole from Peter King. I think because we both have lots of I thinks. And I think that'd be fun. We should do it. Anyway, let's produce the show when we're not in the show. My number one, Buzz Lightyear Astro Blasters, is literally it's a terrible ride. It's bad. It's not good in any way, shape, or form. In theory, maybe. It's just not good. It's not.
Wow.
There's nothing likable about it.
Well, I like it. I like Buzz Lightyear. I do.
It's such a bad ride.
It's not great. It's dated and but it's still fun. I don't know.
There's no ride in either park that's worse than it in any capacity.
Oh yeah, right across the street, Ron. Right across the street from Buzz Lightyear is the worst attraction ever.
We should do a poll on that. You are not going to.
Oh, I would lose that poll, no doubt about it. I would lose it. People don't understand. They like, what's your problem with Star Tours? I'm like, it's me. What are you going to do? I would lose that fight.
I love that attraction. I like it more and more and more every time I hear you say you don't like it. I think it is cool. I really do. I think it blows me away in a way that's, I don't know. Yeah, I think it's cool. It's a good ride. Yeah. But anyway, these lists are very, very hard when we go the other way because we like so many things and we can find things that we appreciate in so many things. So of course, any of the 5 that I picked, you're right. I don't want to lose these kids' rides. Essentially, what they are. Right. We want more of those actually.
Yeah.
But
no, you're right. Yeah, we do need more kids' rides.
Galaxy's Edge.
Yeah.
And then let's break that timeline. Speaking of timeline, how about the Galactic Star Cruiser timeline? Disney putting themselves in a box again. Let's talk about that next week, David. I was
going to say, that sounds like a great topic for next week. The reviews, well, we got the vlogger reviews, but the actual paying guest reviews are going to be coming in soon. As of today. It's starting today.
It's starting today. They are on their maiden voyage today. The official paid, the community, the world, the consumer is there.
So too is eBay. By the way, have you seen eBay, Ron?
I've heard these stories.
They're selling everything. They're selling the soap on eBay.
Remember when we once had the luxury of having a spork, or not a spork, but galactic.
Oh God!
And Disney, after like 2 days, said, "Yeah, we're going away from that. Now you can buy a fork if you want for $8."
You can buy one now, yeah.
It might be more, Nate. I don't even know. So anyway, that's a wrap on today's show. So many story living by Disney Tales. I always want to say assisted living because they promoted the 55 plus community.
Stay tuned for the construction updates on the Crystal Lagoon or whatever they called it.
Crystal Lagoon Technology. So thank you everybody for chiming in. Thanks for the questions. Thanks for submitting top 5s. Thanks for comments. Thanks for reviews. Everything. You're doing great. We appreciate it. And please send more. And until next week.
Fresh baked.
Fresh baked.
Got it.